First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
What's a corn farmer's favorite dog? A husky.
Some things shouldn't be flat. But with GHX, you can maximize your acres with one flat price. While other brands sell by the bag, we sell seed by the acre to maximize your yield and profit potential. Our custom seed recommendations combine extensive product characterization and agronomic expertise to get the right product, population, and placement, all for one flat price per acre. Learn how at ghxseed.com/connect.
We are dealing in some colder weather, and as a matter of fact, we may have a couple of days coming up Wednesday, Thursday mainly. Thursday, where
let's wait and hear from Richard before we go in any weather.
Where we don't get out of the mid-20s. It's going to be very, very cold, and it's something to think about as we get to that cold weather and preparing for it. And of course, we all know that going outside in the cold is not going to get you a common cold, but it can cause some issues. Dr. Kent Hall on the line right now. Doc, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
We're doing well. It's cold. It is, it is that. I think one of the biggest things that we deal with, I know the flu is a big deal, and, there's still COVID out there and whatever it is that gets people sick, the common cold or the many different strains of the cold. But I think seasonal depression is a real thing as we come in to the holidays for some, and then post-holidays, when the days are so short, there's a lot of clouds. I think it really does affect people's emotions.
No, it does. Certainly, it's the medical term for it is seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, which I think is a good acronym for it. And there are people who, as the days get shorter and there is less light, that it actually does, have an effect on their brain chemistry that causes them to be more prone to depression. There actually are lights, special lights that you can get that if you they're fairly bright, but if you put them on for like 20 minutes to a half an hour in the morning when you first get up, when you may do that when you're, sitting around the breakfast table or whatever, it can actually counteract the effect of not having as much, that the duration of sunlight is not as long. So,
would it be the same thing you would put on? Because if you have a plant in your house, or like Andrew, you're growing several in the basement.
Yeah, right. Jeez.
Doc, you're from the 70s. They have these strip lights you can put up that will give the plant the needed sunlight, if you will. It's is that the same type of thing? It's more of a blue light, though. That is for plants. Or I oftentimes you'll see these lights you can get that will simulate sunshine. That's probably what we're looking at.
Right. So it's not the blue lights. The blue lights have a lot of ultraviolet component to them, whereas these lights that are specifically designed for seasonal affective disorder are really much more about being similar to sunlight in terms of the spectrum, the band of light that they shine out.
Okay. Did you know that hippopotamus milk is pink?
I did not know that. That's something that I will now put in my brain, and what that means
It'll
is that something else that's in my brain is going to fly out. So
Donna says it's only pink if it combines with the skin. It's the acid from the skin that actually causes the pinkness of the...
Even more disgusting. Great.
Really good. All right. I wanted to go briefly on this because we all should know the importance of how quickly somebody can get frostbite, the importance of getting out there and making sure you're handling the cold weather properly. And then I've got a big question for you coming up after that. Let's start with the cold.
Yeah, so, cold, first there is like the ambient cold, like what is the temperature? But then you have to factor in for us, because we're warm-blooded, the wind chill. So you have to, if you're in very cold environment, like today, I think it's 25 degrees, but there's almost no wind, so the feel of it is about the same as the actual temperature. But, you can be out with exposed skin for 5 minutes or 10 minutes before you start to have problems with frostbite. But on the other hand, if the wind were blowing at 10 miles an hour, then the feel of that would be closer to between 10 and 15 degrees, and that significantly decreases the amount of time that you can have exposed skin out there. So you really need to be careful. We know that the whole thing about you have to keep your head covered because most of your body heat is released through your scalp. Is actually not true. It's about equivalent. The amount that's lost through your head is about equivalent to the surface area of your head relative to your body, which is about 10 to 12%. It is true that it's larger for babies, so it is more important for them to be covered up.
That should be common sense. You're keeping
you
your
would hope
baby out of the cold. And then I don't know what it is, Doc, but maybe my wife is explaining to me that the reason is because you're getting old. Talking to me, this is what happens when you marry somebody younger. The reality is, I don't know. When it gets cold, I am colder now than I've ever been. And sometimes you just can't warm up. And I keep telling her, this is the medicine that I'm on. That's what causes that. She said, no, you're getting old. Doc, which is it?
You're both right.
Okay, good. Great.
He's going to play that recording later for her.
So the reality is that, as we get older, our ability to regulate our body temperature causes more strain on the body, and that can result in us, feeling colder, even when 15, 20 years ago, we would not have felt as cold. Right. So that is certainly true. There are medications that also predispose people to not being able to regulate their body temperatures as much. And that makes them more prone not only to cold illness, but also to heat illness. And so you really have to look at the individual and what their circumstances are. A 20-year-old taking certain medications will not have the same effect as if you're 70 years old and taking those same medications. So, but you are both right that it is both as your physiology ages, it's true, and the medications that you take are also important.
Great. Anyway, I remember walking in my grandmother's apartment some 20 years ago saying, Grandma, it's like 76 degrees in here. And she said, really, I didn't notice that. They don't, right? You want it a little bit warmer. 76 is a little much. It was hot in that apartment. And then finally, this is enormous. I don't know if you saw the story out of Syracuse, the lab in Syracuse. But it turns out that they have modified naloxone, which is a drug used for people who
are fighting addiction,
addicted to like heroin or opioids, what have you.
Yeah.
They have been able to, in Syracuse, and there's still a lot of testing to be done, but they've been able to, and they're calling this a miracle, to help people with brain cancer, with the cancer that is spread into the bones. And that is
very
one of the things
interesting
that does happen. But this could be a miracle discovery. What do you know about it?
Yeah, so I don't know a lot about it. I did read a little bit, and certainly, early preliminary information that is coming out would say that there is a real positive benefit. But again, this is very preliminary, so you really don't know. Naloxone is actually used as it blocks the effects of narcotics in the brain, and that's why it is used as a rescue drug for people that have had overdose of, heroin, fentanyl, those kinds of things. And it works very, very well. It can be given both as an injection and as a nasal spray. But we also know that those receptors also also are important in other areas. Some studies have looked at naloxone as a way to increase people's recovery from stroke and things like that. So this is another one along this study and this evaluation is another one along those steps. But we need to wait. Right now, it's like this is promising. Let's see what the next steps hold.
So they're saying that if given the precise dosage in the precise spot in the bone, the drug can somehow kill the cancer and grow new cells and regrow the bone. I mean, that is, and as you said, it's very early. Still, trials have to be done. If there is someone that might have an interest, you'd reach out to the Upstate Cancer Center, where soon they will be looking for humans to test the drug.
That is, I mean, it's so very interesting how sometimes things are accidentally discovered as treatments. We've seen that a lot throughout history.
Right. No, that's very true. You know, the whole thing about penicillin, the way that penicillin was discovered, was entirely fortuitous, which was great for the ability to manage infections, and that's just true across the board. Sometimes medications are developed for one thing, but then they find that their side effect is actually much more beneficial.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, interesting stuff. Doc, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah,
wait a minute. Sorry, it's Tuesday.
Still have a good weekend.
I think my brain is cold.
Yeah.
It's been cold all day. I can't seem to warm it up. Have a wonderful rest of the week.
Thanks, everybody. You too, and please be safe.
All right, you do the same.
Save big money on power tools at Menards. Skill power tools are powerful and easy to use. With over 27 20-volt power tools in stock at Menards, Skill has any tool you need to complete your project for less. Pick up a Skill 20-volt cordless drill kit for just $49. Plus, view our entire selection of Skill 20-volt power tools on Menards.com and the weekly flyer for other great deals happening now. Sale price good through December 8th.
Season's greetings to you all.